Hey, Ed. Hey, Nicole.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Mike.
Worst part about multiple screens is getting control of all of them.
Yeah, add a couple of layers of remote desktops to that, and things can get out of control really quickly. So, Nicole, we are expecting James and Francis, hopefully, to join. But
Francis and James are in. Yeah.
I see they have the next page.
Yep.
All right. So, from our side, we can start any time. Mike's going to kick off.
I will kick it off in just a second. And then I'll let you guys take it from there. Okay, well, here we go. So good afternoon. Welcome to our ASI Controls Roundtable, our first one for ASI Controls. We're super excited. I'm Nicole Conklin, Director of Products for Cochrane Supply, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank you for your time today and just talk about the value of this roundtable for not only ASI, but hopefully for you as partners. Our goal with these roundtables is to make sure that you're up to date on the products that they've launched in the past year, updates, any new products coming into the pipeline, and everything to make you successful. But not only that, this is your time to give ASI your feedback. You're out in the field working with their products on a regular basis, and we're really hoping to be able to get you to collaborate with the products group to be able to help them make decisions of their products and where you guys need them to go in the future. So again, thank you for your time today. And to thank you for your time today, we are offering a Polo co-branded ASI Controls and Cochrane Supply. You can scan this QR code here, and the ASI team, if you guys want some, make sure you go ahead and do it as well. I'll also put a link in the QR code in the chats. During this, please feel free to ask your questions, put them in the chat, wait for a break to get into conversations for questions. Whatever's easiest for you, we'll make sure that the chats get responded to either verbally or in writing, and of course the verbal conversation. So ASI team, we have Ed, Mike, and Francis, and James. I really appreciate your guys' time today and helping us do this. I'm going to let you guys take it from here. Thank you.
Okay. So thanks, Nicole, for arranging our first roundtable. Looking forward to getting some feedback here and in future roundtables to come. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So we have a short PowerPoint to review some new releases, and then James will also talk to you about some future products that we are planning on releasing in the coming year or so. And so let me start my slideshow. So welcome to the roundtable. The top of the list here, you can see there's a couple new controllers that you may not be aware of. That I'll give you a little bit of background on. We're in the process of getting them added to the products page on our public website. Expert 4 has been in release for a bit of time now, the biggest addition being Windows 11 compatibility, but we'll go into a little bit more detail. The auto IP functionality helps us bring Ethernet devices online a little bit more quickly. If you're talking to customers that are working with the Niagara driver, we have some new versions newly available, and we've got some new versions coming soon with official support for the JACE 9000, as you see the roadmap at the bottom half. If you do get any questions from your customers regarding our older WebLink 3 software, which we haven't updated in recent years, we are in the early stages of developing a product we're currently calling WebLink 4. I don't know if that's going to be the official name, but it will be WebLink for modern computers, modern networks. Smartphone app is coming as well to let you do some commissioning and air balancing from a phone without needing a computer. And then IntelliTask is a kind of a wizard that we created for our pre-programmed ASIC 1 controllers to help you get graphics, alarms, schedules, etc. Into a Niagara system more quickly. And we're going to extend that to some of our smaller programmable controllers since they ship with a default program, and so the kind of the IO points and the set points and whatnot are predictable. So we'll extend that out to the small ASIC grids. Certainly, if anybody has any questions along the way, feel free to ask. Or, as Nicole mentioned, you can put them in chat and get to those too. So the ASIC 38116 is a small programmable controller. It is sort of the parallel. We had the 6100 VAV controller, and we have a fully programmable 6115 VAV controller. And so kind of the parallel then is the 8100 is our pre-programmed rooftop controller. The 8116 is intended as the fully programmable kind of equivalent for rooftop applications. You can see the point count on there: 8 inputs, 6 relays, 2 analog outputs. Form factor-wise, it's quite small. The actual circuit board size is almost exactly the size of a dollar bill. So it can be made to fit in a lot more control panels into equipment. So you shouldn't need to provide external enclosures as often. And it does, unlike the 6115, it has a real-time clock, hardware clock, so it can keep track of time even when power is not applied. So if you have standalone applications that need a small programmable controller that have some scheduling needs, it could be handled with the 8116. Since it's an ASIC 3 controller, there is also a backnet schedule object that can be allocated as many instances as you need, and then you can integrate your backnet schedules from the Niagara scheduling tool and have this kind of synchronized into the 8116. So if the front end loses communication with the 8116 for a short period, the 8116 will still run for based on the schedule that had been programmed in on the front end. This RJ45 jack here, kind of lower left, is not an Ethernet port. It is for a wall sensor, so it supports our WSO61 and other wall sensors with communication jacks. So that controller is available. Cochrane does have pricing. We are in the process of getting it added to our products page on the website. So pricing wise, it's a little bit more than an 8100, but a little bit less than say 9520. So it kind of fits in that gap where there's some room. The ASIC 3 6115 ETH, the ETH is for Ethernet. You can see the picture there with 2 Ethernet ports. And so it builds upon the standard 6115, but adds the ability to do daisy chain Ethernet networks. Our industry's slowly moving towards more IP connected devices, less MSTP or RS-45 connected devices. And so with the 6115 ETH, that again gives you the ability to do daisy chain Ethernet networks, so you don't have to do the traditional hub and spoke. That may save you some time and expense of Ethernet cabling in the field. IO-wise, it's identical to a regular 6115, 8 inputs, not including up to 2 airflow sensors, 5 TRIAC outputs, 2 analog outputs, as noted on the slide. And when you do add the Ethernet ports to it, it will act as, or can act as, a backnet router. So you can do backnet IP, and on the Ethernet side, the RS-45 port can be configured for MSTP, and it will route from Ethernet to MSTP. So you could potentially have one Ethernet connected device on each floor acting as a router to route to the other VAVs, whether they're 6115 programmable VAV controllers or pre-programmed 6100s. And then that avoids the need to have a separate router in the field. ASI Expert 4, we have recently released version 4.2. We had been running on version 4.1 for some time. Biggest thing with Expert 4, again, is Windows 11 compatibility. It uses a different database format for your projects, but it does have the ability to read in your older ASI Expert version 3 projects and convert them to the newer database format. Communication-wise, it supports all the different communication paths as before. So you can do serial ports, either USB direct to ASIC 3 controllers, microsyncs as COM ports. It can do ASI protocol over TCP or UDP, and of course, it can also do backnet IP. One recent change, minor change, when you first create a project, now it defaults to a backnet project, since we think that's probably more common than not now. So that will save you, a click or two. And that last bullet point, as again, we're moving towards a more Ethernet connected world in our industry. We want to give you tools to bring your Ethernet connected controllers online more quickly. So this auto IP function, basically, you can push a button on an ASIC 3 with compatible firmware. It will kind of reach out, and ASI Expert will identify it, and then you can tell it what IP address you want to assign to the device. And optionally, then you can also tell it to load a configuration file. So just trying to save you some time in getting your controllers online in the field. Slide here, this just to show you what that auto commissioning screen looks like. And so it'd work with the controllers that have built-in wired Ethernet ports, like the 9540 and 9520. If you have Ethernet connected 6115, again with compatible firmware, it will also support the auto IP feature. So again, it saves you the step before you power up the controller, connect via USB to put in the IP information. Now you don't even need to make the USB connection. You can do it all via Ethernet. A Niagara driver, again, for older systems. If we have older, ASIC 2s were our older programmable controllers. We have some older ASIC 1 controllers that were ASI protocol only. If you have customers that want to bring those into a more modern Niagara front end, we do have a Niagara driver that allows the Niagara front end to communicate using ASI protocol. We recommend using an Ethernet connection. It can do TCP or UDP for ASI protocol. There is an option to do serial port communication, but again, recommendation is Ethernet. And so initial release was functional, but we've got some feedback on larger systems that the throughput wasn't what they were used to with it. In a lot of cases, they're upgrading a WebLink system. And there was some feedback again that, kind of round robin times to get through the list of points was not as fast as it had been. And so we really kind of dug in under the hood to optimize that communication. And so it can ask for basically a lot more pieces of information with one message rather than asking for them in a bunch of small chunks. And so that improves the throughput significantly. And we also do give you more feedback in the application director. So if you are having some trouble, we can get some of that information sent over to us, and that'll help us kind of troubleshoot the source of the problem. And I'll turn it over to James now for future releases. James, just let me know when you want me to advance the slide.
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Mike. So as briefly mentioned, the agenda, WebLink 4 is under development right now. So that is going to be our own front-end software. We previously had WebLink 3, which is incredibly long in the tooth at this point. Using Java frames requires IE compatibility mode. At the time, we had transitioned to our J2 partner to launch IntelliFront, which we've supported pretty robustly, both on the BACnet side as well as on the ASI protocol side, having co-wrote a driver, much like we have for Niagara, to bring in some of our legacy controllers that don't do BACnet and support it. But we do have a lot of customers that still remain on WebLink 3 that still have older hardware that they've been running this front-end application on. And unfortunately, there hasn't really been an upgrade path for them that doesn't include a high cost of labor in order to either transition to IntelliFront or to transition to a Tritium-based front end. So in identifying that hole in our offerings to our partners and our system integrators, we're now developing WebLink 4, which is going to be a modernization of WebLink 3. The goal for the initial release is to have it support, of course, modern browsers. It'll be mobile responsive with the bare minimum, have some scaling, so you will be able to look at the graphics on a tablet or a phone, iOS and Android, whatever you have. We're going to shoot for the initial release to have an out-of-the-box conversion ability so that we can have our system integrators and partners that do have those legacy WebLink 3 installs to be able to load up WebLink 4 and convert a WebLink 3 project into a WebLink 4 project, at the very least to bring in points, histories, alarm notifications. There won't necessarily be the ability to edit graphics, but if you already have a WebLink 3 application with custom graphics, it will do a conversion to WebLink 4 with a canned set of graphics to appear on the screen to be able to migrate off of those older WebLink 3 installs onto something more modern to run WebLink 4. And so, of course, that's just going to be the initial release. After that, we will be adding custom graphics editor, be able to do custom sequences within WebLink 4. And for the initial release, we will support BACnet as well. So it will be ASI protocol for legacy applications, but it will include a BACnet driver. Previously with WebLink 3, we use an OPC server. So to have BACnet compatibility for OPC, it required an additional licensing fee through Kepware. And so we're eliminating a lot of cost of labor and initial costs to system integrators and partners that would have to buy a WebLink 3 install with an OPC server and then WebLink, or rather Kepware on top of that to be able to bring in BACnet devices. So in this case, WebLink 4 natively out of the box for the initial release for both conversions and for some canned graphics will offer ASI protocol and BACnet support. Next slide. And then we've got on the right there, we've got Infor driver support for the JACE 9000. So that's probably the nearest term release, which will be released shortly. So we've been improving the Infor driver, improving responsiveness in the previous slide, as you saw, for legacy applications, and that was for our JACE 8000 offering. And so we're improving support for the JACE 9000, and not only support for the JACE 9000, but I think more critically, it's support with other vendor modules. So we have acknowledged that there's been some incompatibility for a lot of other vendor modules that get loaded on JACEs. And so we've had to go back to development to ensure that everything's playing in the space appropriately. We don't necessarily want to have to offer a JACE 8000 or a JACE 9000 with the implied task that you have to run the ASI driver, but no other drivers. That's against really the spirit of Niagara, against Tritium. And so as the windows of HVAC, that Tritium is. We want to be able to ensure that all of our products can run in a building alongside Distech or any other vendor without running into incompatibility. So, and additionally, that driver release will be signed with a trusted signed signature certificate without the requirement for any sort of managing any user trust stores. And that will be out nearest term. And then later down the road, we're excited that we have a smartphone application that will be released. So that is going to be initial release will be a Bluetooth supported application for use with our 8116 release. And we've got screenshots up there are actually from the Android beta that we are in current testing. So we have an example of air balancing as one of the things that can be manipulated in the app. For 8116s, it'll be things like set points. Of course, the 8116 and 6115 is a fully programmable controller. We don't necessarily expect to have smartphone programming, but at the very least, the ability to load configuration files. So if you've got a rooftop application, you've got a VAV application for either the 8116 or the 6115, you will be able to load those configurations into the controller with a smartphone via Bluetooth, and then be able to load, go back in and then adjust set points. And if you've got a 6115 application, that there will be an air balancing app so that you can air balance from the smartphone without the need to fire up Expert. Next slide. And then finally, we've got IntelliTask support. If anyone's not aware, we do offer a tool for Tritium, and it's called IntelliTask. And the task part is an acronym that I can no longer remember. I think it's I know one of them is alarming, scheduling, and I forget the T and the C. But in any case, what it does in the screenshots you see up there is that for our 6100 products and our 8100 products, which are our unitary VAV controller and unitary rooftop controller, we offer this tool IntelliTask, which will both upload a specific, what we call personality. So that would be like 1 level of heat, 2 levels of heat, cooling only, be able to upload those personalities to either of those unitary control products, and then create canned graphics in Niagara without the need to create those PX views. So that creates override screens, it creates alarm screens, history screens, it sets histories in Niagara for you. It's a very powerful tool that we offer for our unitary controllers. And so as an upgrade to IntelliTask, we will be announcing and releasing 6115 support and 8116 support with similarly based, not quite canned personalities, but what they will be is configuration files that get you 90% of the way there with the same functionality, cooling only, 1 level of heat, 2 levels of heat, and then be able to create. Oh, thank you, Francis. Trending and commission is the T and the C there. But to be able to create graphics for you and load in some of those pre-made, fully programmable function groups in the controllers to get you up and running with a graphical front end, really in minutes. On the 6100 and the 8100, it really takes no more than 5 minutes if you've got something like 30 controllers in the building, all tied into Niagara via BACnet, that it's able to load the personalities in each one of those unitary controllers and create all the graphics for you. So at that point, all you need to do is create one overarching PX view with a floor plan graphic, and then create all your links to all the graphics that IntelliTask made. So that will be coming out soon. And then, of course, because the 6115 and 8116 are ASIC 3 controllers that include BACnet schedules, as Mike previously mentioned, which I think the limit on that, Mike, is 16, which, so not necessarily as many as you can, but surely as many as you need, because I don't know if I've run into any sort of integration that includes more than 16. I mean, I don't really think we have more than a couple BACnet schedules, but you can do up to 16. And so IntelliTask will automatically create a Niagara schedule export for BACnet in both types of controllers. So that way you're already connected to your BACnet schedules. And that does cover, I think that covers all of our future releases. So next slide, we can at this point, I think, open it to any questions that anyone might have based on current products or future products.
So out in the field, what are you guys experiencing? Do you love it? Do you have, I wish it could do this, or any type of feedback for the ASI product management team? What do you think of the upcoming updates? Going to be a tough crowd today, huh?
I see John Kerr there. John, you can unmute and tell everyone how much you love ASI controls.
Hello, everybody. John
Hi,
Kerr
John.
with the Getford Company. I've been with ASI for about 25 years, first with temperature control and then the Getford Company. And I've had great success with it. And I will say, of all the control companies that I've ever dealt with, they have the best tech support going. You're going to get a response if you have a question. You're going to get help no matter what. You never make you feel stupid. Just great stuff. Products stouter than anything I've ever dealt with either. So if you're new to it, please continue on, because it's a great company, and I really enjoy representing them and working with their product. I do have a question on anybody else experiencing any issues with Expert 4.0, especially connecting to older controllers.
What are you experiencing, John?
I actually sent some files in, crash files, and I'm sure they're trying to figure it out, what's going on. But as you connect it, it will either just dump you right back out and close the program and write a log file, or it'll let you connect, and as it's loading up the function groups, it will tank. Now,
John, are you using version 4.2 now? Because we took in a lot of the files that were submitted by both internally and by customers, and Ed can probably tell us how many hundreds of things got fixed between 4.1 and 4.2. But there should be a lot of those cases solved if you were using 4.1.
I think I was using 4.1, and I went back to 3.809 or whatever
3.8.
it was, just to solve it temporarily. So I'll give 4.2 a try. I am on Windows 10 though, so that could be part of the issues.
Yeah, actually, John, I know. I was just going to say regarding tech support too, I know exactly what crash you're talking about. And so that is fixed in 4.2.4. So I appreciate you sending us, I think it was like 2 or 3 crash dumps that we had created. Yeah. So thank you for that. Yeah, once those were sent in, we were able to identify the issue. Not that anyone would parse what I'm saying, but there was a buffer overflow when there was too many ASI protocol messages coming in with sort of similar addresses that would cause that crash. So that was patched. And if you try, so please try Expert 4.2.4, and that particular bug was patched in that version.
Great, appreciate it.
See, that's why we
Thanks, John.
do these things. We find what's going on and we see if there's a fix, and if not, how can we get it looked at? John, thank you so much for your feedback and your input. It's very important to all of us.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else that would like to give some feedback or experiences? Keith might yell at me,
Yeah,
but
I saw Keith in there. It's like Keith must have some feedback.
Yeah, thanks, John, for speaking up. We are, I think we're on a 1.5 years now with ASI. We're a 20-year Solidyne dealer. I got stuck in a rut with Solidyne. I knew it very well. I could do anything I wanted, and I will say it's been a breath of fresh air going to the ASI control. Much more powerful. We haven't missed a beat. I know Cochrane can probably speak. We really don't need any tech support. We haven't needed any tech support, and we've done a wide variety of jobs already, including taking over a York JCI York screw chiller. We ripped all the JCI factory controls out, and we're doing it all with ASI now. Due to we couldn't get those parts anymore from JCI. So really pleased with the control line. It's opened us up. We're expanding our market, and we're going to travel. We've been in Nebraska. We're in Kansas now. We've been in Nebraska doing jobs, and we are actually willing to go to any state with this control line. So really like it a lot.
is there anything that you would like to see added to the portfolio?
Not that I can think of. I was hoping Dylan could have been on this, but he had some issues getting in. He's on a control job now. So he does all of our programming. I do all the Tritium Jace stuff. So for my part, everything's worked great. We haven't used the IntelliTask at all. I don't know. I guess on the Tritium side, it's easy for me to build something and just keep using that. I think with the Ethernet control, we've got a very large job we're bidding. If we get that, I may try the IntelliTask on that one just to see how much time that can save me. But yeah, I can't really think of anything yet that we've ran into that they didn't have a solution or something that we could make work.
I love it. And now, are you guys using programmable or configurable or a mixture of both?
It's a mixture of both.
Great.
It's nice having the VAV controllers with canned. It's also nice that you're not stuck in a box with the canned. You can still do a little bit of custom things if you need to. But yeah, the fully programmable is what we use a lot. Because we've got a lot of chiller plants, air handlers. I don't know. We do anything. So we've got some fisheries that we control the pumps and stuff for fish hatcheries. All kinds of strange things that we do out here.
I love it. That's great to hear. I'm glad the experience has been great and you're satisfied with their portfolio. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Anybody else using IntelliFront in the group?
Those of you that are not familiar with IntelliFront, it's our branded version of the Fin framework. So we wanted to offer an alternative front end for customers that, for whatever reason, didn't want to use Niagara.
We're using it. I like it a lot. Still got 3 jobs with it and still learning stuff, but it's pretty nice stuff. If you ever have to use it, it's definitely a good front end.
Great.
Yeah,
Nicole, I have a question.
Yes.
Are there many people that are using WebLink 3 in this audience? And the reason I ask is that we're looking for beta customers for our WebLink 4. The WebLink 4 will run on the same machine on a separate machine next to WebLink 3, talk to the same set of controllers without interfering with them, allowing the WebLink 3 system to continue to work. And WebLink 4 will just pick up all the WebLink 3 files and use them untouched without any modifications and display much the same information, reader only at this point in time, just to give people an opportunity to try the WebLink 4 upgrade on a new operating system, on a new PC, on an operating site, or in a lab, and an opportunity to give us some early feedback as to which features are missing in the early version of WebLink 4, which they need, because there's many hundreds of features in WebLink 3, and some of them are going to be obsoleted because nobody uses them, and we just want to make sure that no necessary features get overlooked. So
I got a lot of WebLink 3 sites out there, and I joined this a little bit late, so I wasn't even aware we were going to have a WebLink 4, so I must have been living under a rock. When is that available, or is it
well,
now?
the WebLink 4, I call it the minimum viable product, is available now. That means you can install it and run it next to your WebLink 3 and, give us some feedback. So I'm not quite sure what the mechanism for you to get the actual installer is. James, maybe you can fill us in after this, but you can install it and it should just boot up and run and be very familiar to you. It's got a console just like WebLink 3 has. You click on one of the line item views, and it'll bring up that view, and that view will look almost identical, except for the little things that we want to address. For instance, on one of our customers' views, they had a border around a box, and on the WebLink 3, that border was blue, and on WebLink 4, all of a sudden it's red. So those are the sorts of things that we want to try and reveal in this early testing. And if you've got a lab set up, or you can get a backup copy installed in your office, attach a controller to it, even better. It can sit there as a test bench for both of us to look at as we iterate through the pre-release versions. So James, how would John get a copy of the installer?
Well, I think it's probably best, and Mike, you can confirm. I think probably best way, and that goes for anyone in this meeting, to just email us at tech support at asicontrols.com. That way we have a single repository on the number of installer requests, and then we should be able to send out an installer after that. And if you can, do you need any, Ed, do you think it's necessary to include any information in Ed or Mike, like site information? Just because I'm trying to think if we're having these guys try it out in the field, to have some initial information insofar as age of controllers. Because I don't, if anyone's not aware of ASI controls, it is as a product manager, product director, it's a pain in my butt. But we are not the type of company where we tell you, oh, that controller's 10 years old, I'm sorry, we don't support it anymore. I think, as John was saying with the issue that he was having, he's probably talking to legacy controllers that were installed probably like 15 years ago, right? And so we maintain with Expert 4, we maintain backwards compatibility to talk to any of those controllers that we sold, back in 92, 93. And that's why we have stuff like our In4 driver, that you could have a 20-year-old controller, or a series of 20-year-old controllers on a job site, but you can install Jace 8000, soon to be Jace 9000, with the In4 driver, and you could have Tritium graphics on the front end, because obviously there's no need to upgrade the back end if all the controllers still function. But I saw a note from you guys, so okay, so you don't need to include any more information other than the fact that you've got WebLink 3 and you want to try out WebLink 4.
There's one thing. We're only supporting the ASI expert, the ASI protocol over Ethernet at this point in time. So we can't do direct serial connections, can't do backnet at this point in time, or Modbus.
I will look at my sites and see if there's one that's worthy of testing it on, because I don't want to waste your time. The one I'm dealing with right now is Kentucky Center for Performing Arts. They're having some issues down there, and they're cheap, state run. So it might be a test ground if they'll give me remote access. But right now it's through Zoom, helping them out. You just pay me hourly to help them through Zoom. So, and I just converted, probably would have been the best WebLink 3 site over to IntelliFront. So that one would be out, but I'll analyze what I got and see if there's anything worthy of requesting it.
Right.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Any other
So-
feedback? Or if you guys, ASI, if you guys want to go ahead and go on and move forward.
So one thing I'd like to highlight is the auto IP. James showed a slide. Perhaps we can go back to it. I just want to expand upon one point of that. Who's got control? Right. Just pop back a slide or two. That slide. So the auto IP it's only showing one controller on that screen, and it doesn't do the concept justice in terms of what can be achieved. If you took 15 or 20 VAVs out of their boxes and installed them on an MSTP trunk, on an IP system, and powered them up, and then walked and started the auto IP feature on Expert here, set up the initial parameters in each of these fields, and then you walked from controller to controller and just cycled their power or pushed the service pin on them or power them up in a strict sequence. Those 15 or 20 or 40 controllers would automatically be allocated sequential IP addresses, sequential system bus addresses, sequential device IDs, and sequential system description fields, which become the backnet object name completely automatically. So it's quite a thing to power up 4 controllers and then push 4 buttons and have 4 fully configured controllers, because you can see there's an ASI configuration file field there. So it's literally one button push gives you an IP address, device ID, system description, a system bus address, and a configuration. Boom. You can configure and populate controllers every 5 seconds, all right? Just by pushing that button. Pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's my bad, Ed, for not having. When I was taking the screenshot, that was just one of my bench controllers, because I actually use it in beta testing just to program any ASIC 3 with Ethernet, just because I don't. My laptop has USB-C, and our 8116 that's released has a USB-C, so I can use a USB-C to USB-C. But our 9540, 9520 series uses USB to USB-A or whatever. It's like the printer cable. And it's not often that I have one of those hanging around on me. And so it's actually really easy for me to just pop into my Ethernet on my laptop and then Ethernet into a 9520 or 9540 and just apply power with this running. And then it'll immediately give it an IP address so that I can stick it on whatever network that I'm on. But which is a limited use case. And then, as you said, yeah, for this was designed for in expecting issues with our or not issues, but complexities with our 6115 ETH that has onboard Ethernet, which you would typically use a USB cable to connect to the 6115 through that wall sensor jack that sort of looks like an Ethernet jack, and then OpenExpert to give it an IP. So in this case, with this program, if you've got a job site where you have multiple 6115 ETHs, you can select the VAV program that you've already created or the default program that we include for the 6115 and just go around and connect each one to Ethernet and just power each one on with your laptop connected to the same network, and it'll just sequentially give each one of those guys an IP, backnet ID, and system bus address. So it's very convenient for deployment of those, and even better if you're using it for some of the larger controllers as well, because you can load those configuration files. And like I said, personally, I find it easier just to have, because I always have an Ethernet on me. I don't necessarily have like a bundle of cables on me, but just even to do bench programming via IP, to be able to go in with this tool and give it an IP address and a configuration file.
That should be a huge time saver for a project.
Oh yeah, we believe it will be. And also, even in the lab, like James alluded to, if you got an arbitrary control on the bench and you don't know what this IP address is, you just fire this up and push the button, and boom, it gets exposed and given an IP address, a new one, and away you go. It's an incredible time saver during commissioning, during installation and commissioning, and also when you're working on controllers with Ethernet and you've got them lying around and you can't remember what the configuration was.
Any other questions or comments? How often do you have these scheduled? No, this yearly, is that your typical frequency?
Yeah, we like to do these the first quarter of every year, just to get our customers prepared for the year with your product. So the first quarter, we'll be sending these out every year now, and setting these up and talk about what did actually get released through 2025. How is it going? Any questions or comments there? And then talk about the roadmap for 2026, or going on. So, our goal in these is not only to get ASI feedback, but also to get the customers prepared for the year and opportunities like this IP auto commission thing. That could be huge, especially with your VAV controller and everything, and having those IP abilities to be able to set up a job like that, I think could be a huge time saver for people, and not having to manually go and do IP addresses and device IDs and config files and everything. Just have it automatically do it with your service pins is, I think, going to be huge for the partners. So when did you say that was going to be released?
Oh, it's included in version 4.2.4 and 3.6 revision 4 of the firmware.
Great. So what we'll do, if that is the last of the content, what we'll do is we'll send this recording to everybody, along with a copy of your PowerPoint, and maybe put in a note about the WebLink beta users and how to get it. That way you guys have that on record. And we know we have some partners that's been buying some WebLink accessories as well. So we'll go look in our history and make sure on the side we'll reach out to them for you to get some beta users for WebLink 4.
That'll be great.
Well, if there's no other feedback, this has been a great
Hey, Meg.
roundtable. Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I just Just wanted to say thank you guys for all your support with our licensing team. Mike Fong, you are amazing. Not that you guys other aren't, but I just wanted to let you guys know thank you very much for all your support.
Oh, sure. No problem at all.
Yeah, and as we're growing too, and in the newer line for us, these are very important for us as well, and making sure we're understanding where to help our customers grow into. So we appreciate all the support and the great products you have, and looking to continuously grow. And to our customers, thank you so much for your time. I know your time is priceless, and we really appreciate your time and your business. And we'll let you all go from here.
Well,
Thanks for
thank you,
everything.
Nicole. Thank you
Thanks
for
again, Nicole.
arranging this and the invitation. Highly appreciated. And to all the people listening, we're just an email away, and we promise we'll do our very best to respond.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Have
Thanks,
a great day.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Take care.